Namaste, Jai Bharat. If you go back to history and watch, you will see that the Europeans were continuously in the false consciousness that Europe is world and world is Europe. This you will find right from Napoleon's expressions, even Alexander going to conquer the world, Napoleon controlling the world. They were using the term world just to mean Europe. Maybe not Alexander to that extent, but certainly Napoleon was using the world concept as Europe. They failed to consider, rivals have failed to consider other civilizations on most of them are much advanced than what the Europeans claimed to be civilizations. They ignored them. These things went outside their frame of perception. Now this continued. That's why both the European wars were written in history as World War I, World War II. Actually, they were not world wars. They were just European War I and European War II, in spite of the fact that when Second European War took place, the colonies of many European countries were instrumental in it or were used, but then not of their own, but just as a part of their colonial rulers. And thus, if you look at the interesting the history, there's a period of colonial rule, there's a period of colonialization, there's a period of imperialism, but these things will wither away in time. Since religions do wither away in time, then forget about this kind of colonial rules. We may speak about religions withering away in time slowly, but now let me focus on this concept of world. So Europeans thought their world and world is Europe existed. So after the Second European War, both the two powerful nations of those days were Germany and Britain, United Kingdom, Britain, and these two nations are not very large in the sense and not very significant in terms of population, but for a short time they were military power. They became military power, and then they were playing considerable role in the European War, especially Second European War. But then things totally turned. It's Hitler's fantasy of ruling the world, ruling the world, and Hitler was convinced, and wrongly convinced. The whole thing began with Hegelian philosophy, and Hegel was misled by Max Muller's theory. Max Muller was yet another German. Although the Germans never considered him to be something great, they thought him to be very romantic. Even Marx, the Germans thought to be romantic, and they were right to a large extent. So the Hegelian philosophy and the Max Muller's influence, Macaulay's instrumental appearance in it, and Hitler getting drunk in Hegelian philosophy, and thinking that there's somebody called as Aryan. People still believe that Aryan is a race, but which is fundamentally a very bad, very wrong mistake, very, very wrong, absolutely wrong. And many people still think that there are people like Aryans, but there's nothing like that. It's a connotative concept. Those who go deeply into this shall understand it at once. Wouldn't take much time for people to understand that Aryan is not a race. Can't be, for several reasons. Short of time, I won't be able to speak about it. So this Hegelian philosophy affected Hitler, and he thought that they are the master civilization creators. Actually, the master civilization creators are Bharat, which we never claim, need not do. It comes out in time. It will be revealed. So he went about conquering the world, and then all these things put together, there took place the Second World War. And after the Second World War, Germany was completely impoverished, Britain was impoverished. Then till then, America was insignificant. But then they were silent, they were not involved, but then they came in much later. They started helping Britain, their ancestors, and all those things slowly changed. And then the world order takes into a new turn, or new branch, new direction, where America becomes the nerve center of politics for Europe. American dollar become the world money, and exchanges used to take place in American dollar. And then, in the meantime, after the Bolshevik revolution of 1917, Soviet Union forms, and Lenin was a very effective ruler who was really well versed in the dialectics of Marx. So he made his nation strong. He brought many other smaller states by force. Communist force is pathetically strong. Brought them together and became a very strong nation. But fundamentally, the Russians were a good lot of people. That's one thing. They had great literature, they had great culture, and they are very good human beings and very altruistic kind of people. See, Europeans speak about humanism. Europeans speak about philanthropy, but these things are actually practiced by the Russians. They are much better human beings of the world. So, two forces come into power, and then slowly things will emerge into what we call today. And slowly, the Soviet Union, the Americans, CIA, continuously and relentlessly tried their best to destroy the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR of that time, and intervene in many other nations. They thought it's a game. The American intelligence and CIA were intervening in the matters of other states to shape the many other nations of the world to their convenience. They played it in part several times. There are many suspicions in our mind. The assassination of Mrs. Gandhi, Rajiv, and many such things took place in Bharat. People suspect the involvement of CIA, and in last elections we have very clearly seen. Now, of course, CIA has changed that here, and it becomes a deep state, not just CIA, or many other things put together, many other people joined together, and they wanted my Prime Minister not to come to power, and they were successful to the extent of reducing his majority. And that is a great success, I'll tell you. In a nation like Bharat, with such acceptance to a person like my Prime Minister, Narendra Bhai Modi, to reduce his majority was a great success for them. We have to be fighting. We are vigilant, of course, we are vigilant. That's so they did not succeed completely, but they succeeded in reducing his majority for some time. But though it did not make any difference, and shall not make any difference for the future to come, until something very revolutionary can take place or can be made by these people. And another point is, will these people remain powerful enough to make such differences? Also, is a matter to be investigated. Besides the point, so dollar becomes world money, America becomes everything. These things takes place, and slowly China has an advantage. Chinese people are also better people, much better people when you compare them with Europeans. Much better. Most of the Asian peoples are much better. China combines two deadly combinations, make a deadly combination of capitalism and communism. For administration, they are communists. For economy, they are capitalists. Now, with the communist administration, production, output, market, everything is completely controlled by the state. There will be no deviations from the objective of the state. So it didn't take much time for China to become a very big economic power. And once the administration of the state is strong, they can focus on any aspect, including science and technology, military sciences, and all those things. So China emerges as a powerful nation. And when China becoming a powerful nation, US is afraid that, initially they were worried about Soviet Union, a former Soviet Union, which they have destroyed through Gorbachev. But then Russia remained. Russia has a history. Russia has a unique history. And Russia slowly becomes powerful in spite of the destruction they had to endure with the collapse of former Soviet Union. But then suddenly they became powerful. They became powerful. And these two aspects became a challenge to Soviets, and they had to face it. Nonetheless, the hegemony of America continues. It's then Bharat was a silent nation right through. With the thoughts of non-alignment, etc., etc., etc. But the change of regime to extreme right-wing politics in Bharat, which was absolutely necessary for the integrity of this nation, the non-alignment concept undergoes a paradigm shift. Non-alignment in the erstwhile rule, like the Congress regime, Congress rule, was equal distance from everyone. But the non-alignment concept of today's Bharat is equal closeness to everyone. Now, these are two different things. Equal respect to everyone, equal closeness to everyone. This is extremely dangerous for US. Viewed differently to all. Actually, there is no serious difference between Bharat and China. I'll come back to that. It's only very minor, talkable differences. So, China becomes powerful, became. So, Russia becomes powerful, became. Now, third, under this present regime, Bharat also is emerging as a powerful nation, and America is continuously afraid of a union of China, Bharat, Russia. And they were very comfortable with the thought that China and Bharat can't see eyes to eye together. But if you look at China-Bharat relations, the problem is that China is not trustworthy from our perspective. With Russia, we have a very long-standing, comfortable, trustworthy relationship. They trust us, we trust them. We are not going to let down one another. Compartment. We have seen this in the oil crisis. The sanctions they make against Russia, but Bharat stands by Russia. Stood by Russia, stands by Russia, and they do the same thing with us. This is a history of our nations. But the Americans want China and Bharat to be poles apart, or not to be in good terms. But they don't realize that. There is no real difference between China and Bharat except minor border disputes. That's the only thing. If you look back at history, the people of China and the people of Bharat were always together. We have an adjoining civilization, a cultural contiguity, and a cultural continuity. It's only because of communism, who oversees culture and religion, these things were sidelined. But if you go, you will find a lot of interactions between the people of China and people of Bharat from long time ago. We have our histories. America do not have any history. It won't take long for these two nations to overcome the disputes, petty disputes and differences, and once these three nations are together, that's a story. There is always this BRICS, where many others are joining. So the alternative world order is emerging. Once the alternative world order is emerging strongly, once the alternative currency to dollar becomes a reality, that's it. There will be new world order. After Second European War, whatever dominance America got in gift from other European nations shall cease to exist. Focus of the world would slowly shift to Asia. All the world organizations are controlled and governed by Europeans, and Europeans are not very powerful when you take world as a whole. There is this African element who are very powerful, but they are not given any opportunity in the limelight. And Asians, of course, I need not to speak more about Asians. Now, once these BRICS, which includes Africa too, becomes a formidable organization, all other European perspective which gets imposed on the world ceases to exist. So we can hope for a new world order which shall be better, because human beings, I see, are more human in Asia, not in Europe. Human beings are more human in Asia, though the European speaks about all theories of isms, humanism or this thing or that thing, altruism or philanthropy, what kind of things they speak, but nothing really takes place on ground in their societies. Nothing really happens. They are more brutal and inhuman, less evolved from animals to humans. I would go to that extent. Just look back, read the history, then you will understand. You look at the Spanish War, you can look at the 30 years of war, look at all those things of the past. The amount and extent of war the Europeans fought among themselves shall reveal how peace-loving they are. And overnight, their genetics can't be changed. It takes time. But look at Asia. For one instance, I'll conclude at this point. Who has contributed religions to the world, East or West? Is a single religion from the West? No. All world religions, good, bad, whatever it is, all world religions are essentially the contribution of East, not Europe. Certainly not Europe. So who is more civilized? Europeans or Eastern people? Just think about it. I shall conclude. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.